Brian, very simple question. Will best ball survive if real-time assistance tools get better?
Survive. Yes. Be profitable. No.
Will you still be able to theoretically win $2 million in 2030 if best ball real-time assistance tools become what the people who are very vocally against them say that they are going to become? Will real-time assistance tools get that good that the game is not profitable for all but the nerdy tenors of the world?
Well, these are two different things, right? Because the lottery exists. You can't beat the lottery, but it's still huge prize pools. So will best ball still have huge prize pools if there's awesome solvers released tomorrow? I think so. I think they'll still be. I don't think you'd. It'd be very hard to win on your own. Would be my guess. You'd probably be fine the first year, but then once they get more popular, there'd be too many guys with really good strategy. Now, best ball is best ball mania, aka best ball monster,
AKA best ball monster.
is it kind of a different story though, because it's really hard to kind of solve that. So like even the best solver you could come up with.
I'll just put this on the record, and people have accused me of a lot of things in the last 48 hours, which is just very funny because probably no public-facing tout listens to the tools less than me, which is just very funny. But I will say this: I would still play, even if Nerdy Tenor and Utica and Osimo and all the greatest DFS players had quantum computing calculus simulations and sims and didn't have to click the button. All they had to do was say enter 150 and the computer did it all for them. I would still play. And maybe that makes me an idiot. Maybe that makes me a degenerate gambler. And frankly, Brian, I wouldn't even think my entries were dead, both from a real money perspective and EV perspective, in that eventuality.
I think the solver, like we need a new word for solver. I do think that's what this whole blow up was over. We talked about this on lulls. I'm repeating myself for like the 100th time, but if they did not have solver in the company name, I don't think anyone would have given. If they would have just been like, "Hey, we have an overlay tool that shows each year's rankings. Check it out," there wouldn't have been a peep. But because
no, I disagree. I disagree with that. There still would have been a peep. There still would have been a peep because I think that if I can actually give some credits to the haters, I think that their concerns are. So I think philosophically, if your idea is, I want everyone to come at this with a level playing field, the site should just say, these tools are not allowed. You can't use any overlay. You can't use anything other than what's already in the draft applet. ADP by week, and I guess probably Hayden Winks' projected points or whatever, or whoever does the projected points. I get that, and frankly, wouldn't push back. I like the tools. I would not push back against that if that is how it is. What I think it's very naive to say there is a $15 million prize pool contest. $2 million is there for first place. This can continue indefinitely, and there will be no market force that will try and award a greater percentage of that prize pool to them, right? And I guess maybe it's because I've already done the DFS thing, and it sounds like a lot of these people maybe missed the DFS boom, never had fun playing DFS,
never played poker.
Never played poker, and it feels like they feel that like maybe their little corner of the internet just got ruined by big bad capitalism, which frankly, who is going to be more sympathetic to capitalism ruining something fun than me, right? No one is going to be more sympathetic to that than me. But I guess because I've been around gambling for so long, I'm just like, yeah, this is just what happens. Games get harder by the nature, It is what it is.
I mean, I agree with everything you said. I think everyone on, I don't know, our side, I guess, said the same thing basically yesterday. Like, no, if they said get rid of the tools tomorrow, we get rid of it. And whatever, like it's not that big of a deal. It's not like a huge source of income or anything, you know what I mean? So like and it would be if you could wave a wand and no one could create their own tools or use anything, any spreadsheets in Google Sheets or any of that stuff, it would be more reliant on using your brain power. It's 100% true. No one disagrees with that. So like I feel like this is a little bit like the gambling addiction stuff that we talk about so much in lulls. It's like, yeah, gambling addiction happens. I get it. It's bad. No one wants it. Okay. But there's a lot of other things too we need to consider. And, same thing here. There's other things to consider in reality other than the ought of how things ought to be. I mean,
Yes.
I'm repeating what you just said basically, because we've been saying this, and I don't get like we don't really have any, and I haven't seen any really good critics. I think like the best kind of logical argument would be if they ban it. Yes, there still would be cheating, but it would be a net plus, like a net plus EV wise for the brain players.
Yes. Yeah.
And
It would be.
And I think that's probably true. It depends on how good. The reason I think that's true is because I don't think you can really get such a huge edge in best ball as you can in DFS with these tools. You can if you also know ball. I wanted to say this before you started giving your explanation, where people don't understand too. Like somebody commented on my stream yesterday, like it's like someone taking steroids, telling the guy who's working out, like, "Oh, you're the one who's oh, you think you're benevolent, right?" But like it's really like just I would say pretty much every single player who subscribes to the Draft Caddy is pretty good at basketball. Like they're already good. They're already like know a lot about basketball compared to your average person for sure, and then your average drafter. It's more like a guy who works all the time, and then it also can get a little juice. If you have to use your ball knowledge to make the tool work. At least mine. Each tool is a little bit different. I think each yard is the same way. I think the sidekick is the most advanced one, and it's the most expensive one. And I want to say this. I'm kind of bouncing all over the place, but like the sidekick was definitely like I was when they released the sidekick, I was like, should we make a competitor to this, like the more advanced one?
Yeah.
And thought about it and stuff, and never pulled the trigger because of like this backlash, honestly, and the cost, the risk benefit analysis of Underdog banning us. So like when Sidekick was released, I was like, should we go hard? Should we not go hard? And that's probably a good thing we didn't. But theirs is definitely got some more.
Well, they do. I mean, I use them both. So I use the Draft Caddy and I use the Sidekick when I'm on my computer. And what's funny is like I draft on my phone too all the time.
Yeah,
And I mean, I'm sure the teams are different. It would be really interesting to get the results at year's end. It'd be funny because all of my results last year were terrible, but it would be funny at year's end to go back and look at like what the ROI or points scored or whatever was between real-time assistance tools and phone shitter drafts. Like, I'm walking with my dog,
sure.
or whatever. I mean, the caddy it displays the information
Yeah,
that you can use, the week 17 stuff, the team totals, your exposures and all that.
still got to use your
And
brain.
still got to use your brain. I mean, and frankly, Crutches did this. He just drafted a couple teams only taking the top suggestion from a couple of the tools and was like, these teams are dog shit. You know, as you would expect, right? As anyone who's ever tried to automate anything, it's going to
The
be
only way to get the caddy to draft a good team for you currently is you have to it's designed for this. You have to go in there and change the correlations around, upload rankings that are good, that'll work directly with the adjustments in the caddy, and then pick like, piss yellow, etc.
right.
And it's also it's a suggestion. It's not a auto drafter. So like you get what you get out of it what you put into it. Like you have to do some drafts, learn the settings compared to your rankings, and be like, okay, I think it does this too much, and then go in there and tweak it a little more. And it's like, okay, this is starting to get a little better, but I'm getting too many RBs or something. Then you move the RBs around. Like it won't even work unless you make a change in the settings for how you want it to suggest players. So you get what you put in on the suggested tool thing. But mine also too, which is why it's like it's also frustrating, is it was never intended to be like a solver. It was just to be an upgrade above the auto drafter that Underdog offers, because theirs is so bad, right? And so it's like, I don't want 8 RBs, and so like, but I do want a minimum of RBs. Like I do want 2 quarterbacks at least, right? And so like it's just basically a smart smart auto drafter, like their auto drafter, but just upgraded, but not like a full sim solver, which is I think what the majority of these bros are complaining about, that it's solved. And even if you did create a solver, let's say Dan has a solver, you have to give it a you'd have to give it great inputs to get it to work at all. So like even in dailies, like you'd have to give it good projections.
Well, that part is easy, right? You just give it the ETR projections or whatever.
Dailies is easy. Season long's not though.
Season long, I mean, you just couldn't I mean, I've been saying this, but like the wrinkle to best ball is that we all disagree about the inputs, right? That is the wrinkle. The wrinkle is that we all are arguing, you're like, no, the Bears should be projected for 6,000 passing yards. I'm like, Patrick Mahomes should be projected for 70 passing touchdowns. Like that is the fun of it. I said this in the little article I wrote the other day, but we could, give in 2023, we could give Dan Nerdy Tanner, we could give him unlimited computing power, unlimited money. He could create the greatest projection set known to man. He could have quantum, we basically give him the Large Hadron Collider to run sims. Dan is getting fucking smoked by Dolphin Fanatic 17. getting lapped out of the gym by any Los Angeles Rams fan.
He won't know who's starting for the Cleveland Browns in week 15.
He'll have no idea, right? So much more of the skill, I would say, are like almost like kind of like soft skills that I just don't even know if you could ever really meaningfully put into a solver type thing where you are solving for, ranges of outcomes and like how often should you be taking the running back 3 on the Rams because Jarquez Hunter is the archetype of player. Like, there's a lot going into it. I mean, this is something that Leone has talked about with the ETR rankings, is like, it's really hard if you're using projections and the ETR stuff has like range of outcomes. Like this is not just like straight median pick stuff of being like, they have this happen every year where some veteran wide receiver in their stuff just like looks really good, right? Brashard Perryman is always the one I remember. Kenny Stills, when Kenny Stills was a Dolphin, like just various iterations of this. Whereas someone like, I don't know, who is someone from last year? Let's just go with Kyron Williams from 2023, right? Very hard to make Kyron Williams look good in projections if you're being kind of like intellectually rigorous about doing the projections. That's like pure ball knowing stuff. So my opinion is the ball knowers are going to kind of always have a slight edge over the nerds in best ball, provided they are doing the structural things correctly and the roster construction things correctly.
To give the haters more ammo for no reason at all. I think though, if you combine that guy, the ball knower, with nerdy tender stuff, that's probably the best player. But I would say it's definitely the best player because it would probably
100%.
give the ball knower some insights. Really, I think what the tool will be best at in the BBM would be insights on like, okay, based off of this stuff, this year is looking like this percent.
Yeah, no, that's actually you feed it historical data and then you show it this year's data and you're like, what's different about this year's ADP or construction or whatever that is exploitable?
Yeah, you would need this year's info too, though. But yeah. That would be interesting. I want to talk about the money and the bias too. So I've been looking at the comments. I know like Pete has the sharpest take on this, obviously, which is just mute. But I love reading the comments.
Yeah.
Occasionally you'll get a good argument. So, but most of them are not. And so the number one I think I saw was a criticism of us in the last couple of days was we're all biased.
Yeah, we're grifters. We're grifters. All we want to do is suck money out of the economy.
So that's not an argument. It's not an explanation. So like for example, like let's say my favorite number is 4. I used, when I played soccer, I wore number 4. And I go, 2 + 2 = 4. You go, well, you're biased. You love the number 4. So of course the answer is going to be 4. It's like, yeah, that's not an argument. Just because someone's biased doesn't mean they're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, so like obviously I am biased because like
Yeah, but it doesn't mean you're wrong.
It doesn't mean I'm wrong, but it does mean that there is at least a reason to take what I say with a grain of salt.
Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, but if we're having a discussion, an exchange of ideas. You put forth your side. You wrote an article. You did 3 podcasts. You say this is what I think. I'd be fine with it being banned. This is the world we live in. And then the person responds with, "You're biased." That's not an argument. It's way closer to an ad hominem.
Okay. And then the other thing,
argument would be an explanation in a retort to your points.
So then the other thing that people say, which is like, again, and I remain sympathetic to all these people because, again, people care a lot about these games, right? These draft games are fun, and they
I know, but this is why I'm sick of these fucking clarifiers. I'm so sick of it. It's just like the gambling addiction thing. We've already said go ahead and ban them. We've already said that. We are all competitors, by the way. Like me, ETR, right? Run the Sims, ETR, Legendary Upside. In some way, we're all competitors. We should be hating each other and not, but we all agree. We all agree on listen, if they change the rules, they change the rules. We'll never, and we won't break them. And generally speaking, probably right now, it'd be better if they banned it all for just that ball knower cohort. And I said this point, I don't think people appreciated it, but I think it's true. The ball knower who's bitching, I think a lot of these guys aren't ball knowers. They think they are. They think they have an edge, but they don't. But let's just grant that they do. Like you're so benevolent. Like I want that money for me. I need that money's mine. That loser's money who's subbing to you. That's my fucking money. It's like that's not like it makes more sense to people who bitch at unabated than the people who bitch at these tools. Because at least unabated, it's the us versus the book.
Right.
And so unabated puts out cool tools, and then the books can use all the arguments that people have levied against unabated. That makes more sense. This is like they're going, oh no, I want that money. That guy's normally like slightly negative EV, and you made him even EV. That was my 5 cents of EV. It's like that's not you're just as greedy as anyone else. If we're gonna just say someone's greedy, and greed is also not an argument. Greed is not an argument. Bias is not an argument.
Not in a capitalist society, Brian. I mean, if you really at the end of the day, it's all capitalism.
This is is this going to be a take cast? Because this is a take cast discussion.
Yes, this is a take cast.
Is that what do you want a business's motivation to be, you dumb commies? What do you want their motivation to be?
The dumb commies would say this is actually Underdog's fault to begin with. And they would also say it's short-sighted and this is going to ruin the games. That
Well, no, I'm saying
it's
specifically to calling a company greedy because they make a product. So like this is just a levy. This is the majority. This isn't just commies. I'm joking about the commie thing. This is the majority of Americans. They think businesses are just greedy, and they're going to fuck you at every opportunity they can get.
well, businesses are just greedy.
Let's grant that. What motivation do you want them to have other than greed, other than a profit motive? Do you want them just to do it out of the goodness of their heart? Do you think that's going to have better outcomes? The only way to get so if they can't force you, if they can't coerce you or force you to buy their product, what do they have to do? They have to convince you. They have to sell a better product than their competitors.
Yes. I mean, it's hard for me, obviously, because I'm so fond of Underdog and all my friends work for ETR and, Crane and
Underdog. It's just a company selling shovels.
Well, I'm just saying it's hard for me because I hate corporations, so it's hard for me to think.
That's the problem. That dumb mindset is the problem that you perpetuated has now come home to roost.
Frankly, I don't really know if it's come home to roost because my attitude about capitalism is I hate it and I hate participating in it, but to try and opt out of it would be dumber because I would have to.
Well, how about instead of opting out of it, give me an alternative to what's better than a profit motive for a company to run on?
The good of humanity.
Okay, let's try that for a second. Let's see have a company run on the good of humanity and see how well they do.
By the way, breaking news. We do have an official statement from Underdog.
Oh, bring it up.
You ready for it?
We gotta read this bad boy. What timing?
Yeah, what timing?
It's like a real news show.
All right. I'm gonna read it because some people still listen to this on the podcast feed. So let me pull it up. All right, Chrome tab. Here we go.
If we didn't do any shows, I think they would have just let it go.
They would have let it go. Yeah. All right. So this is the Underdog Drafts statement. We've seen the new draft tool that has been the focus of discussion this week and would like to provide some clarity. We have always monitored what tools are out there. We've allowed some, we've blocked others, and we're grateful that various creators have played ball in making sure their tools do not break our terms of service. In general, we do not allow scripts. We do not allow strain on our APIs. We do not allow automation. We do allow suggestions and overlays and have for quite a while. We understand the concerns and the various viewpoints on this, but suggestions are allowed. Automation is not. We will continue to monitor new tools to ensure they are in compliance with applicable fantasy regulations and our terms of service. So there you go.
Holy cow. Okay, that was way less than I thought. I thought they were going to I thought they would just try to appease this group.
What did you think they were going to say?
I don't know. I thought they would say I can't remember what I said my predictions were. Like maybe like a like we were talking about having like an app only.
I mean, that is so hard to do. Like that's got to be so many layers. Well,
what about the money? Under $3 or something though? Like they do on DraftKings.
Again, that's just a lot of work, right? That is just a lot of back end work for them.
I'm all for not doing any work. I'm just
saying that placates like what 50 people on the internet, maybe 100 people.
That's all who was complaining. It was only 50 dudes. With the same guys loudly on most of those, maybe 50 total. It wasn't that many.
Yeah.
I saw someone in Pete's comments or somewhere. It's like, Pete, you should, or some, I don't know, maybe it was in my comment. It's like you should realize there's more people complaining that should tell you something. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's more people using these apps, buddy. I'm pretty sure there's more people using the apps than complaining about them.
Yeah, I would think so. And like,
there definitely is.
So like the thing about that statement is like there is no downside for Underdog. The way that the tools currently work allows power users to just pay more rake right? The power users can just be on their website. Like without the tools, without the caddy, without the sidekick, it's just really hard for me to power through a bazillion drafts. I can do it, but it's much harder to just like there's only so much that I can do. And the people, so like as from a customer acquisition perspective, what is going to bring more customers in? What's going to have more people spend more time on the app? More money to first place. $3 million to first place. A puppy with 500K to first place, which is the same thing that happened to DFS, which I guess is what people don't want to have happen. But you need power users, you need whales to sustain the economy. And because of the time, like it's actually really funny. You see this with Major League Baseball dailies. The prize pools can't get that big for Major League Baseball battle royales on Underdog because of the time commitment. You can't just automate it and script, like you can't just put rankings in and auto draft the way you can with NBA. And for me, I mean, I think as long as you can't just auto draft NFL effectively, it does just feel like the experience for the average user probably doesn't change that much.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I don't think the tools are there yet anyways. But even if they were, what percent are going to pay $150 or whatever for a premium actual kind of as close as you can get solver? How many people would pay for that?
How many people pay for what specifically?
Like Nerdy Tender solver product or something.
For dailies, 27 people. Maybe 30,
Right.
maybe 37.
Yeah. What about what if there was a best ball monster one BBM?
If there was a tool that would automate drafting your best ball teams and they were provably good, like let's say we could falsify evidence, like or run a back test or something and show what the results would have been in 2024 or something like that. 750 people would pay. Yeah.
But you know what? You'd only need 1 month. You'd only need a sub for 1 month. You can get 150 in with a solver.
Yeah, but a big reason why you'd want to do it is you'd want to enter in all the side contests. You'd want to max the puppy, you'd want to max the mini schnauzer because to realize your equity, best ball is such a combos game. It's such a
750 for just suggested picks.
Oh, I thought you were saying this is full automation.
No.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood.
No. Just suggested picks, following the terms of services, but it's theoretically the best product that we could develop.
No, still probably like a fair, like 700, 1,000 people, something like that, I think is your target demo.
I think that.
My napkin math is the established through on YouTube has 41,000 subscribers. I think maybe more now. I haven't looked in a while. Let's see.
My guess is they will not be doing that.
They have no. They have way more now. They have 48,000. So
no. I mean, they will not be upgrading to a Nerdy Tenor level solver anytime soon on ETR just because of the backlash they got. Levitan probably wants no piece of that.
No, Levitan was not having a good time doing that.
No.
Then yeah, it sucks. It was no good. Yeah, I don't know. But I do think that the idea that anyone that is not drafting with automated real-time assistance now is throwing money down the drain. I think that is I think that's wrong.
So you're saying if you don't have one of these products, you're at a
don't have one of the products. Yeah.
I would agree with that. I would go also though that anyone who doesn't use a good source of ADP projections and stuff is also at a disadvantage.
Yes, if you don't have access to good rankings, if you don't access, if you just don't have good data, like if you haven't, I think if you haven't gotten all the information from like the Best Ball Manifesto, like if you don't know the value of stacking, if you don't know the value of correlation, if you don't know bye weeks, like if you just don't know that stuff, yeah, it's like
You
playing a
couldn't
DFS.
even use the draft caddy if you didn't know that stuff. You'd be like, what? Why is there a W717? What does W17 have to do with anything?
Yeah. So like, oh, that was one of the things that people had said to me is like, oh, you think the tools are not that big of a deal, then why do you use them? Why do you
Yeah.
promote them? It's like, well, yeah, I mean, I think they're helpful. I think they're useful. But if you don't have a base layer of knowledge, what are you gonna do with it? You gotta have, like you've said this, like the idea for the draft caddy was I just like the in-app draft thing sucked and you wanted to
Yeah.
be able to like auto draft sometimes, and it's not really helping you make the teams you want, I don't think.
No, but it's making teams like that are way better than the auto drafter would on the actual
Yeah.
site would do.
Yes.
And then you got the overlay part. And so like I here's what I would do usually is I would do like the first 10 or 11 picks and then I'd be like load my queue or something and let the queue or thing do it, just like because you can get like 2 free picks at the end, like it'll do that without shutting down. And so like if I didn't want to do the end of the draft, I'd just let it go. But you just said something there I want to comment else. Oh yeah, so like you got in a little Twitter snafu. So like, isn't it like I was thinking like, couldn't you though like promote like granola bars? Like, what would be wrong with you going, hey, I got a sponsorship today? Tennessee granola bars. They're great. Use coupon code 10% off in Mattek. And it's like, oh my
Well,
god, I know
would
Mattek
never eat
doesn't even
I would
like
never
granola bars.
I would never eat a granola bar because that is too much carbohydrate, not enough protein.
Oh my god, he
Not
doesn't
working
even
for
like
me.
granola bars, and he's promoting it ad on his site. What a horrible person! I was watching.
I think it's because people respond so viscerally to when money is involved, when gambling stuff
No.
is involved, I think is the answer.
Yeah, that evil profit motive. Ooh,
No, I think it's more like you are leading. It's like to me it's similar to why people think of me in this scenario the same way they think of a gambling tout. They think I'm like the same as Steve Fezzik. Like I'm doing something that enriches me and takes
mhm.
money away from you. They think
Yeah,
I'm selling. They either think I'm selling snake oil, like they think like, oh, the tools don't work, you're a cheater, you're a scammer, or they think you're ruining the market for the rest of us, right? Because that is the two things that people always say to sports betting touts. They would either say, "Well, if you're so good, why would you sell your edge?" Or they say, "Congrats, like you just sold your edge and ruined the line for the rest of us. Like you ruined the market for yourself and for other people." Like it's never like,
yeah,
"Oh, maybe it's okay to sell sports betting picks." And we don't have to get into that. That's more of a
yeah.
it's more
They're
of a
saying
real
they're
world
they're
topic.
putting you into that bucket basically, which is I
Yes,
think
they
which is
think I'm
unfair.
Vegas. They think I'm Vegas Dave.
Yeah, which is that's completely unfair because Vegas Dave is awesome. No,
Right.
that is completely unfair for obvious reasons. And we could talk about it, but like, but seriously, because I was thinking about I was watching Bill Maher had Tony Hinchcliffe on like
Yeah, you would
yesterday
be
or 2 days
watching
ago.
Bill Maher.
You like Tony Hinchcliffe, right? I know, yeah, you probably don't.
I don't even know who that is.
The Kill Tony guy. Um, it doesn't matter. It's just an interesting dynamic. I wanted to watch those two talking to each other. Um, they're both comedians, but anyways, like it goes to this. You know how they have podcasts and they just have this completely unprofessional breaks into ads, and it's like
Yes.
it's a live read of Bill Maher like selling Z-Biotics, the hangover thing. And there was another one. It was just like this weird product. And I'm like, how much money do you have, Bill Maher, that you feel the need to do a live read mid-show ad? Like, I'm not sharing for anyone. Get as much money as you can. Fine. I don't care. He's got 200 million. He wants 250 million. More power to him. But like at a certain point, I would be like, I'm not going to do the live read. Just play a commercial. Do something like that. I'm fucking rich. I don't have to do live reads anymore for Z-Biotics. right? I don't know. That's what was going
Well,
through.
having money begets you always want more money. I mean, that's
But
the
like
that's the
him
thing.
doing that is way like is in my mind way weirder and sell outy than you like selling a granola bar ad or something. You know, like this guy's rich. He's got this huge like professional platform on HBO, and he's doing Z-Biotic live read commercials. It's so, but my point is, no one blinks an eye when celebrities do it. So it's not only the gambling aspect and the tout mischaracterization. It's it's that for some reason a lot of people, especially guys who are like older, like late 30s or older, they don't like normal dudes selling ads, period. They think you're a
Yeah.
sellout. I think younger guys are cooler with it, and they're definitely cooler with like super chats and micro donations and stuff like
Yeah,
that than older
don't get me
guys.
wrong. Me personally, I would love to sell out. I would love like I am totally cool with making more money, right? Everyone always jokes. I mean, look, you're watching the screen right now. I got 4 ads on the stream with a crowbar asking you to sign up for my Patreon,
That's 5, yeah.
a YouTube member thing, and a
That's
promo
6,
code Davis on
7.
Underdog. Like, I don't think I've ever hidden that I do this to make money. I don't do podcasts and YouTube videos and articles. Like, I don't do it out of the goodness of my heart. I need to make a living, you know? And maybe it's not an honorable or a just way to make a living, and you think that I should make a living doing something else. That is reasonable, but it like also there's this other thing that I assume that a lot of these people like the best ball economy. Like, they like having YouTube videos to watch. They like having streams to watch. They like Peter's stream. They like Liam's stream. They like whoever. I mean, unless you only want to listen to people who won enough money in contests to live off that money. So I guess your options would be, well, I guess Liam and Herzig. And Herzig is an ETR employee. So,
Well, and Liam sells a product.
Liam sells a product. No tools, though.
Not yet. I think my theory is Liam's going full circle, and there's a tool down the road, baby.
I don't know about that. But my point being is that if you like the best ball economy, if you like having podcasts to listen to, if you like having like what how do you think that happens? Do you think that everyone's just doing this out of the goodness of their heart, or do you think that
Yeah.
there has to be money going in somehow?
Well, even the from the advertiser's point of view, the reason they would want access to someone like Bill Maher, or whatever, they don't necessarily agree. They have an audience. They want the audience to see this product is available, get brand recognition, and possibly purchase it. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, what does Bill Maher have to really take Z-Biotics every time he drinks? You know, or otherwise,
Maybe.
oh, this is just a total sellout. It's like he has an audience. The advertiser wants the audience to go out. Sometimes it's a live read or a native sell, probably because it helps sell more or whatever, and then he gets more money. But it's just it's a win-win, right? So like he has an audience for a reason. He's entertaining for X% of the population, enough to have an audience. There's nothing wrong there. I think the criticism that they were more levying at you is how can you do actually I still think that what I just said covers it, but how can you like sell these tools when you don't think they're good? I think that was more of what like James was kind of getting at.
Yes. Yeah, that is what people were saying. And first off, the answer is I don't think I've ever said, you absolutely have to buy these tools. Please buy them. Whatever. Just like, I use these tools. I like them. This is what it's telling me to do. Like, I don't think I put the only hard sell I ever put it on anyone is signing up to Underdog using promo code Davis. That's the big, that's the big hard sell.
Which people can have problems with that because, oh my God, that's gambling, Davis. But but to my thought on that is, like, let's say you don't have the tool. Let's say you don't have any tools. A guy comes up who you should take because he's got some week 17 correlations. You didn't notice it because you just were scrolling the internet. You take somebody else. If you had a tool, you're much more likely to have taken that guy, right? Because it's right in front of your face. It says his week 17's correlations with your teammates. Is the reason I bring that, this probably happens a whole bunch of times in any draft. Reminds you things that you know through ball knowing that are good for this roster that you might have otherwise not taken. So because like when someone's like, do these tools guarantee a profit? It's like, no, like no one says that. You have to ball know first of all, and then if you want to use them, you have to still utilize them through ball knowledge, and then maybe you can get a higher EV. But what's wrong if you were like a 10% negative ROI person, and then you catch these week 17 correlations now more frequently, and now you're a -4 ROI. So you're still negative, but it did increase your EV.
But you might win.
Yeah, it's like that. Remember, I told, and I said this on my show yesterday, years ago, when I was looking like for like the Soylent drink. It's like it's all in one drink meal, right?
Yes,
I was in the fuel only phase, right? And like the comments on YouTube, on Reddit, were like, "Oh, you could buy all the ingredients and just mix this at home and save yourself, 47 cents, and then you got to buy all these containers and then store them and clean them." And I'm like, I don't want to do any of that. I'll pay the 47 cents. This is the whole reason I'm doing this. I don't want it. And it reminds me of all the gamblers who like cannot, like, in their head, they can't wrap around that anyone would ever make a bet that they don't know is plus EV. Like they can't wrap their head like, but this, why would anyone ever bet a side in the NBA during the playoffs when they're going to the bar with their buddies? How could you do that? Like that makes no sense to them. And so like the idea that like this tool might remind you and help on things that are simple to, but like real best ball bros, but not everybody. But even if you are a stud best ball player, you might miss a correlation here or there, or a bye week or whatever, whatever you're looking at.
If you're a stud best ball player who drafts the best, most perfect team every time you enter into a lobby with the information and projections you have, you still are a huge favorite to lose money, not even over the course of a year, but the course of your lifetime. How many years, how many drafts, like let's say Herzig. I think Herzig's probably the best drafter, right? Just based off like he's made the finals a bunch, he won, yada yada. Herzig could only draft in lottery style contests. Like can't do the big dog, can't do the 5-5-5, like any of these things that are like smaller field, whatever, high stakes ones, only lottery style. How many years would Herzig or Liam or Leone or whoever have to draft before they could expect to realize the value of their skills?
Oh God. I don't know, years, years and years. I mean, I guess maybe in the smaller ones you might be able to realize it, but yeah, it would be years and years.
Yeah,
that's why it's like they're all like try really hard. They're probably all very good at best ball, but like if there's so much randomness in these gigantic best ball fields. There's more variance in best ball than DFS, and that's saying something.
Which is then obviously the haters right now are saying, well, if you can't realize your EV, then why would you market the tools? You're stealing money, you're grifting. To which is a profound misunderstanding of what the tools are. They just help you build better teams. That's it. That's all they're supposed to do.
I mean, they raise your floor is probably the easiest.
Yeah, they raise your floor.
They raise your floor. So if you were minus 10% before, and now you're minus 5%, that's pretty fucking. And you play, a couple $100 a year even, and you do 1 month of the draft caddies, $29, $30. and it cuts your losses in half. That's pretty good.
Your
And
theoretical losses.
your theoretical losses, yeah. Like, I mean, yeah. If we were doing the Vegas Dave thing, like, which by the way, I was telling Levitan, like, I mean, we might have to do that. Like, we might. This got them so much engagement that we might have to like try to manufacture this kind of outrage. We'll do a nerdy tenor tool and just say we 100% solved it. This is gonna get banned. I was saying like there'll be an arrest warrant out for nerdy tenor already, but if you sign up now before he gets arrested, you'll get it. Let's make a huge engagement farming product. But like like I don't know anyone who, and any of these 3 or 4 products, who says you're guaranteed plus EV. And I don't think that's selling out or grifting or whatever, like the accusation against you, because you can still save you if you're not as bad as before. That saves you a lot of money, and even still, there's an entertainment factor to best ball and gambling. Some people just enjoy it better, and they like having numbers and stuff in front of them, informing them to make their picks. It makes them for I mean, that's the way it is for me. I don't draft unless I have my tool on. I want to see like all the numbers and shit. Like, okay, what's the ADP difference versus ETR's rankings or something? You know, how many weak correlations does this guy have with this guy? You know, right. It raises me up from whatever my floor negative EV is.
Yeah. I still sort of think that it's hard to phrase it. I basically think that there's so much variance in specifically Best Ball Mania, specifically the huge 672,000 entrants in Best Ball Mania 6.
Yeah.
I mean, even if half the pool, this is my thinking, let's say half the pool drafted perfect teams every time, mathematically, like whatever, projection perfect teams, that does reduce your theoretical EV. I'm not sure how much it matters in practice with the way Podluck works and everything. Like in practice, I don't know. Like, I will say this: if every person I was up against in every draft room, all 11 lobbies, was doing the ETR tool and ETR ranks, wouldn't really change the way I approach drafting. Wouldn't change how much money I dedicate to best ball. Just like whatever, it just wouldn't.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't think that's a great argument against them though, like, because they could say, well, that's your personal choice.
It's not an argument against anyone. It's literally just how I am thinking about it.
Yeah. The whole thing is, and I mean, now that we got the Underdog statement, like what are the haters saying? Actually, what are the comments? They have to be getting fried.
It's exactly what you'd think.
No, it doesn't look that bad. Well, I have like Crutches and Easy, Gumby. Thanks.
I mean, the people who will be
expected. Oh, that's this guy, this Underzet guy. He's been commenting.
There is something very funny about a guy whose name is Underzet hating the guy who his name is a parody of. There's really something so kind of, I don't want to say Black Mirror because that's like so cliche, but just something so like profoundly internet 2025 about that specifically. Just
I was this close to tweeting something, and I'm like, yeah, fuck this guy. Yeah. It's like but the reason is I was talking earlier about, I don't think it's that many people, because this guy's commented in like every single person's thread.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that is even the more interesting question, is like who even cares that much about this? Like, let's say, okay, the video you guys did yesterday on Peter's YouTube channel, right? What do you think got more views? Best Ball Breakfast yesterday or ETR's controversial new best ball tools?
Best Ball Breakfast, which Pete's show.
Yes.
or the one where Adam got flamed?
Yes.
How many did Pete? Well, Pete gets a shit ton of views. So Pete, I would guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
More viewers for yesterday's, and now not 1-to-1. The stream is a lot longer. If in terms of people who watched, it got a lot of views for one of his 1-hour streams. So the Lowell's from last week got 1.6K views. ETR's controversial new best ball tool 5.2K views. So people are interested. People are
Yeah.
fired up, right? It is. I suppose this is. I guess we can end it on this. Let's say, and this is not going to happen. Let's say the tools don't get any further. They don't get any better. They just kind of are what they are. And obviously the tools will improve. And maybe Underdog will change their stance on automation. Maybe they won't. I don't know. I retain and reserve the right to change my opinion about these tools as they change in the future. But let's say they stay are where they are. What percentage of people actually will change their drafting habits because they're so displeased with the tools being involved? Although, again, to be clear, the tools have existed already for years.
Yeah, the very few, if at all. The only way they would change, I think, is if the tools are so good they would suck up the EV enough out of some of these guys they just go broke and they don't play.
Yeah.
I don't think we're there yet. So, and I'm not even sure how good you can make. Because I don't know how good you can make a tool. I think you can make it. I think you can make them pretty good, but it's not like poker. It's not like chess.
No, because the values, the values in poker and in chess are agreed upon. There's a value. Aces are worth aces, but
Finite.
Derrick Henry is not worth Derrick Henry. Yeah, they're finite. They're defined. It's like the difference between limit hold'em and no limit hold'em, right?
Yeah. Like the queen of spades doesn't have a lingering hamstring issue that you don't know about ever.
Yes.
There's a lot of knowledge that we don't know. Now you can make it as best you can, like with that stuff in mind. It's also like I think there's only so much you can do in best ball. Because you also like your opponents are drafting too. So like if they're drafting good teams, like you can't. There's not like that might not be an obvious spot where a good solver can like do anything about it.
Yeah. It is just I just find it obviously someone who's so in the weeds. I just find it intellectually fascinating, and it's such a case study in people's like attitudes towards gambling and the ecosystem and everything. Like it is just it's just very interesting.
Yeah. I also compare this again like to the gambling addiction thing because it's I know we're biased and that's such a good argument, but like the it's so easy to be like gambling addiction bad. I'm opposed to gambling addiction. Sure, we should implement this because it might stop gambling addiction. Who's going to argue with you? No one wants to be that guy.
Right.
Be like, yeah, I know gambling addiction's bad, but there's all these other issues. There's only so many resources to go around, and it only affects actually a lot smaller percentage of the population. No one, apparently only me, but nobody, generally speaking, wants to be that guy because it's not fun defending that position. And this is actually true since we promote a product that somebody could say like, well, of course you're going to say that. This is where the bias thing comes in. But like, even if you could put your mind in the guy who was defending this, who didn't have a tool, but wanted to use it, it's hard to, like, that's why the comments are so ratioed. Because it's like, who wants to go in there and go like, no, actually, guys, what you want to, yeah, sure. Like if everything was banned, there'd be less tools. But like, there's more nuance than that because there's gray markets and black markets. You're just going to encourage people to use Google Sheets instead of this. And then your average Joe has no access to a cheap product. Like, that's not fun. It's just easier to just go, you're greedy. You're biased. Yeah, and then they play both sides like an L this too, like we're idiots. We're idiots. It's like, okay, if we're dumb. They said this at the beginning of the show yesterday. If we're dumb, then what do you have to worry about? We're dumb. We're not gonna make anything impressive.
Well, they would say we're short-sighted to the future of best ball. That this will ruin best ball the same way it's quote unquote ruined DFS.
And they'll say that like minutes after you go, if they want to ban it, I'd be down. Sure. And then they ignore that and go, oh, you're just greedy. You're just biased. When you try to make the nuanced point, they just, and I imagine some of these guys are just like absolute droolers that when you like go play poker, right, and it's just like the guy at the corner table, like, oh, that guy's fucking gross.
Right. But some of them are probably very smart and don't want to see best ball become another game like poker or like DFS in which you have to be really good to win.
Yeah, well, then let's say that's true. Then I would like to see some more nuanced arguments. I didn't see much at all. I didn't see anything really that strong, other than stuff we all agree with.
Yeah.
Show me one tweet or one comment on any of our shows that's really strong argument that we don't agree with.
The really strong argument that I don't agree with is there will be eventually, if the tools progress and get good enough, that Underdog will capitulate and allow automation to keep volume driving.
Okay.
That could happen.
I guess.
Another thing that I agree with is this does have the potential to like effectively ruin BRs, to remove the time constraint from BRs.
With suggested picks?
No, with automation.
Yeah, okay, yes. With automation, yeah. With suggested picks, as the current rule set up, I think it with today's like ruling or whatever.
It's still not good for BRs though.
Well, still no, but we've already granted this.
Yeah.
This is our base assumption. Is like if we could wave a wand, no tools allowed, that would be better. That would be better in poker. That would be better in chess. That would be better in DFS. That would be better in. And listen, you joked about the listing by alphabetical or whatever on my show yesterday. You get rid of ADP. That's going to make players with more ball knowledge more profitable. If the users can't see an ADP.
Yeah, that's us being glib though.
No, well, no, it's just using a reduction. You know, if you reduce the argument to something like that, still sound logically. So like the reason you would say something like that is because there are tons of things you could do that would make it more profitable to be a ball knower in best ball that they're not going to do. Especially like they add things to make it easier. Like they put in, you could upload custom ranks right on the site, right? Because the tool did that before. Then they added it after the draft caddy, and I'm like, well, that sucks for the draft caddy, but it's good for the user. What I think didn't they like not even have bye weeks when it first started? First year,
I can't remember. Honestly.
I can't remember, but they've been adding stuff anyways. Is what I'm saying. And the less they have there, the more the ball knowers benefit.
Yeah. You're right. True. All right. Well, there you go, folks. I'm about done. I think I'm done.
I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna work on an automated tool when we get off of here, and
so we'll be ruining the game. If you want to try these tools, why don't you check out the draft caddy?
I'm gonna call it the Underzet.
The Underzet. You can get that at Run the Sims or at Endgame Syndicate. How about that? Yeah, everyone. We will talk to you soon. Later.